Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this, as you would have already figured, is the Jeep Meridian. Now, the 2025 version of this car was launched in October 2024, and since I was out here today with this car, I just thought I'll give you a different take on this car as to whether this car still makes sense for our market, and if it does, what is the case for it? Well, in my personal opinion, it does make a lot of sense for a lot of people. Although the perceptions that we have in India about SUVs is a little bit removed from what this car has to offer. So in this video, I'll let you know as to why this car makes sense for a few people, what are its strengths, who should buy it and who should not. To start off, let's have a look at the exterior of this car. Nothing has changed in the 2025 version. The exterior remains primarily the same except for the fact that now it gets this radar module here. So this car now has level 2 ADAS and it also gets new variants, so now it's also available in a 5-seater version. Overall, you have 4 variants. At the bottom of the pile, you have the longitude version. Then you also have the limited and limited options. Limited options being the mid-spec version, and then you have this top of the line overland variant, which is available in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive variants. In terms of its exterior dimensions, it's slightly smaller than its two primary rivals, which are the Fortuner and the Gloster. The Gloster is the biggest of the lot and the Fortuner is also bigger than this car. But purely from an aesthetics perspective, I think that this car looks the most dressed up and the most urban, the most chic of the lot. If you're someone who's a little bit more fashionable, someone who has a more refined taste, then this car is going to appeal to you a little bit more than the other two cars, although the girth, the size and the brawny appeal of the other two is a little bit better than what you have here. Time now to get behind the wheel and talk about to whom should this car appeal and to whom it should not. Well, once you are behind the steering wheel of the Jeep Meridian, you realize that the interior of this car is the plushest and the nicest looking, the most luxurious, I dare say, of all the 3 cars you have in this segment. If you compare it with the Fortuner, there is absolutely no contest, and even if you compare it with the Gloster, this feels much richer. I quite like the way they have treated the dashboard with this suede, and the entire dashboard, by the way, in the overland variant is soft to touch. So it really gives you a very nice, rich, plush European kind of a feeling. And the screen here is also not overly sized. It's 10.1 inch and it's very nice, glossy, has a Uconnect interface, comes with wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and overall it feels very up to date. It has all the amenities that you would want, gets a panoramic sunroof, gets wireless charging, ventilated seats. In terms of safety, it has 6 airbags. But who is this car for? Well, I really think that if you're someone who wants to get behind the steering wheel, if you're someone who likes driving himself, then this is definitely a cut above the other 2 cars. And the road holding of this car, the kind of fun that you can have around a set of twisties, the way the body roll is controlled, all of those things, the steering sensitivity, all of those things is definitely better than the other 2 7-seaters that you have in this segment, which by the way are very top heavy, which are overly large and girthy, and they're not the kind of cars that you want to have fun behind the steering wheel from. And while this car is a 7-seater, not a proper one at that, just to add to what I was saying, the interior's dimensions have not changed, so the 3rd row of seats is strictly for very small kids. Adults and even adolescents don't have any business there, so that problem persists. But having said that, if you want an extra pair of seats for maybe your pets or for small kids, you actually can use them for short distances. But the other 2 cars have an advantage there, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say here is that if you want those 2 seats as emergency units and what you really want is a car that you can have fun with, then the Jeep Meridian has a case for it, and that's where it really excels. Around a set of twisties like the ones that I'm driving at, it really feels a lot of fun. Now, the engine here is not the most powerful. There's a diesel here, 170 PS of power, 350 Newton meters of torque. It's not the most powerful, but the point to be noted here is that it's sufficiently powerful for you to have fun. The Fortuner has the most amount of torque. It also comes with the petrol. The Gloster has a twin turbo diesel, and that car can also be quite a handful, but those cars won't slide like this if you really want them to, and that's the point I'm trying to make. So if you want an international brand, a car which has some reputation and looks nice from the outside, has some street cred, has a legacy, and something that would delight you while you're driving it around a set of bands as well as on the highway. The Jeep Meridian really has a case for itself. Another important aspect to talk about is the fact that this has the best fuel efficiency of the three cars that we have here. So within the city you'll get about 9 kmpl, and on the highway you'll get up to 12 to 13 kmpl. So in that sense this car is a little bit more frugal. The most important thing is that as things stand post facelift, the prices have been slashed by 6 lakh rupees, and at this point in time for the base variant this car will save you up to 10 lakh rupees only ex showroom over the Fortuner, and that's big saving. It's a different story that the basic longitude variant is only a 5-seater, but the starting point of this car, the Meridian, has reduced by a significant margin. It comes loaded with all the amenities, especially in the overland variant, and if you're someone who thinks that this is too urbane, too chic and too sophisticated, you would be mistaken. This car is a thoroughbred off-roader, and even with the long wheelbase, which by the way is slightly longer than that of the Fortuner, mind you, this car can really go off the road. So if you're someone who knows how to handle his car, this car has the capability, and the visuals on the screen will make it clear to you as to how capable this car is off the road as well. Another great advantage that this car has over its rivals, and I really think it's a big advantage, is its suspension system. So not just for the driver and the co-passenger, but even if you're someone who's sitting in the back seat, that is the second row of seats, I can really bet my head on the fact that this has the best ride quality. It comes with an FSD suspension, and it really is a standout middle row to sit in. If you are going to be traveling with a family within the city or over long distances, the ride quality on this car is definitely a lot superior to that of the Fortuner, which rides on the stiffer side, and over the Gloucester also, which by the way feels like a boat when you're going to be driving it hard. So the ride quality, the handling, the experience from behind the steering wheel, and the overall sophisticated feel that you get from this car is something that stands it apart. No doubt about the fact that the perception that we Indians have about SUVs is that of something which is big, butch, brawny, has street presence. But another advantage that this car has, thanks to that fact, is that there are a lot of people who want to break away from that image, and the likes of the Fortuner and the Scorpio unfortunately evoke that kind of feel where the people who are driving those cars are associated with being kind of rowdies, and this car doesn't have that image. So if you want a more suave image, something which is more sophisticated, then this car again makes a strong case for itself. Also, a few things that don't go in favor of this car is that this diesel engine is quite old now. It's a very old mill, but I must mention that on this specific application they have really tuned it very well. It feels buttery smooth, and with this 9-speed automatic it drives beautifully. The shifts happen very quietly. Although this is not the fastest of the transmissions, I would have wanted this transmission to be faster, and I definitely would have wanted a set of paddle shifters here, because if I want to be in my element, if I really want to be driving fast, that set of paddle shifters would have really helped me, and I really miss that. But apart from that, it's a creamy, smooth engine despite being an old unit, but an old unit it is. It's been refined, very well insulated. Outside noise does not come inside, and from behind the wheel it feels as fun to drive as it is relaxed. So very beautiful experience, especially for a diesel engine. On the downside, again, Jeep's service network is not very widespread. It's also not the most reliable of the cars. Like, you cannot compare it with a Toyota Fortuner, which works like clockwork. The resale market also does not accept this car as well as the Toyota Fortuner. But the case for this car, according to me, is being an urbane, sophisticated, beautiful family car which has international repute, which drives beautifully on the road, is now in this avatar. Prices can be seen on the screen right now. Is priced really nicely, slightly on the expensive side, but still it's a lot better than where it used to be. And last but not the least, is as good off the road also as it is on the road. So for the days when you really want to take it off the beaten trail, it has the capability to quench the enthusiast as well as the off-road enthusiast in you. So if you're someone who wants an all-rounder, a car that can do it all, is good on the road, is good off the road, has 7 seats even if the last row is not a proper one, I really think that this is a very good offering, and if you want to be differentiated, if you want to be coming across as someone who has some taste, the Jeep still has something going for it. The important thing is that you need to take your decision after you have test driven this car. Of course, if you're seeking outright value, then you have other options also. I've always believed that the XUV 700 is tremendous value, so you can look at that car also. And if you're looking for an international brand, earlier this car was somewhere in the zip code of the Tiguan, but the new one has been launched at a very steep price, about 50 lakh rupees ex-showroom. So there is absolutely no comparison, and that opens up a really amazing opportunity for this one. And for those who appreciate good engineering, the legacy that the Jeep brand has, and the fact that this car is really beautifully engineered, offers fantastic ride quality, and is something that has to be experienced from behind the steering wheel to understand what it's good at. I really think you need to go out and take a test drive to understand why this car really stands out. I really hope that I was able to make you understand as to what the strengths and weaknesses of this car are. And if you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Motoroids, and until next time, this is your friend Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.